Hey, welcome back to the Creating Health and Wealth for Retirement podcast. This is Mark Delaney on joining me today. He's going to help you with all your health questions.
Rick, I know I'm sometimes a little bit inconsequential, but I join you every week. I join you for this show. Um, he's Rick Collins. He's going to help you on your financial journey, help you create wealth for retirement. And Rick had an interesting idea for today. Rick, talk about what we're going to talk about today.
You know, we're launching this, we're publishing this the second week of January. And if you're like most people, you might have started off the year strong, making some resolutions. I mean, I know I went to the gym on January 1st and it was packed. And by the 5th, it was empty. And so a lot of times people start these big goal setting programs. Hey, this is going to be my year. They start off with resolutions and then they fall flat. And so I wanted to talk to people about what you can do when your goals and your plan are now a dumpster fire, how you can salvage the rest of your year. It's not over. Don't give up and wait till 2026. But people can start doing small things, focusing on today instead of letting their huge goals overwhelm them.
That sounds like an interesting topic. So where are we going? Get us started. Get us started with the path. What's the first thing that someone should change the way they think when they think about 2025?
A lot of people will set big goals for their year, and when they don't see immediate traction, they give up, they get frustrated. And we could talk about goal setting later, but it's really about what am I going to do today? What do I need to do today to get off the couch to move me forward? It's not living for how I'm going to be at the end of the year, what I'm going to feel like when I have $100,000 in the bank, or what I'm going to feel like when, I lost 30 pounds. It's getting off the couch today and doing something today, the small steps. It's not about it's about progress, not perfection. So what can I do today? Can I read a book for 15 minutes? Can I go for a walk? Can I not go to Starbucks and waste $10 on a cup of coffee? It's whatever you can do right now in front of you to make a difference in tomorrow. So if you string enough of those days together, you'll be amazed how far you can get towards the goals you set for yourself instead of giving up and being frustrated. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. In fact, it's something that I do with clients. I'll help them get successful. They give me a goal, but goals are really a thing of the future. And there's a lot of stuff out there about dream big and think about this and, oh my God, it's going to be so great. But ultimately speaking, when you get up tomorrow morning, you have to do something to make those goals a reality. And I think so many people don't do that. They simply focus on this big dream and they think that their affirmations are actual actions, but affirmations are not actions. Affirmations are just thoughts. At some point, you got to do I used to work with a guy who say F rhymes with duck, ends in ing, work. So the work
I know
is
that
what people,
guy. He's kind of polarizing sometimes, but he's got some good ideas if you can get past the language.
yeah, he is how we actually ended up meeting because of him. But to the point that you're making is a great one in terms of so for me, when it comes to people helping people improve their bodies, it's great that they have this vision, but what's more important is that when they wake up tomorrow morning, they have a plan of what to do that day for exercise, eating, getting rest, and alleviating stress, and execute that plan every day. And something amazing happens, Rick, when you do something every day. You actually become good at it. You suck the first
Imagine
day.
that.
You suck the first day, you're bad the second day, you're terrible the third day, but eventually you start to learn what to do to get better. So
I think
remind me at the end of the show.
another thing I want to point out about doing something every day is you build momentum. It's easier to do something every day after you've done it for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, doing something 21 days creates a habit. And if you can do something consistently for a day or two or three or 21, it becomes easier the more you do it, and it becomes like second nature. You don't have to get up and motivate yourself because it's already a habit.
So Rick, I agree with everything you've ever said your entire life, but that 21 days creates a habit is total BS. There is
Oh, it
no
is?
scientific evidence. There's no evidence anywhere that says you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. There is something that says if you do something every day, at some point it becomes a habit. The 21 is a total myth. So just debunk that completely. There's no evidence that that's true. I've done things for 28 days and it didn't become a habit. You miss a day, whatever. Anyway, my whole point is there is something to what Rick is saying. No, you do something every day, you learn how to get better at it. And the better you get at it, the more likely it becomes a habit because you now enjoy it because you get results from it. That's the key component I think that people should take away from that
Yeah,
myth of
being
21 days
consistent
is a
with what you're
habit.
doing, whether it's for a week, a month, a year, the momentum that you build, eventually it becomes a habit. Not maybe not after 21 days, but eventually it becomes ingrained in your daily method of operation, your daily. Don't want to say habits, but your daily regimen becomes instilled in your brain and your body, and it becomes almost a subconscious thought of I'm going to do this because this is what I do.
I agree with that. And I think the key component is that people must. So everyone, you have a goal. We're not saying don't set goals. Correct, Rick? We're not saying don't set goals. But once you have a goal, there are specific things that must be done to win or achieve or accomplish that goal. Our focus must shift from the goal to those specific things that we need to do every day and figure out ways to do them every single day. And when we do them every day, we get better at them. And before you know it, one day, shazam, that goal shows up in our lives.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do want to touch on goals for a minute. People talk about setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based. Instead of saying I want to get healthy, it's more important to say I want to lose 30 pounds by the end of the year, or I want to do better in my finances. Well, that's some nebulous wish. But setting a goal of I want to have $10,000 in the bank by December 31st, 2025. That's specific. It's more meaningful. Another thing about goals is setting BHAG goals. It's big, hairy, audacious goals, or big, hairy ass goals for those who cuss a little bit. Um, while goals are great and everything, it's important to break those goals down into tactics. Goals are like strategy. In the year, I'm going to do this. Well, the tactics are in this month, I'm going to accomplish this. Then you break it down further, like you said, into what do I need to do today to make the monthly things happen that will eventually get me where I want. That's where we want to focus is today. The little things, the steps I'm going to take today, because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Sometimes a whole lot of bitching and crying and complaining, but it's one step. It's doing those steps every day that will move you along towards where you want to be. And a lot of times, if you don't focus on today, you do get frustrated. If I want to lose 30 pounds and by the end of the year, I do something, I exercise for a week and I'm not 30 pounds down, well, I get frustrated. I fall off the wagon, I go have some comfort food, and I undo all the progress I've made. So I want people to focus on what can I do specifically today? What actions can I take today? And while the end goal is somewhere in the back of my head, that shouldn't be my focus. My focus is on just the next 24 hours. So in recovery, we say make the next right choice or make the next right decision. And when you do that, it's easier to evaluate your progress. What did I do today that was good? What can I do differently tomorrow? And you pivot and refocus every day. But it is important to have goals and a plan, because goals without a plan is just a wish. But the daily activities is what really matters.
So I think that it's important that, so when I think about people who want to lose weight or do better financially or leadership, the expectation is often, I'm going to start big. And I think that sometimes starting big creates more problems than starting small in those daily activities. So if somebody says, I'm going to join a gym, I recommend to people don't join a gym in the beginning of the year because number one, it's going to be crowded for the first week. But that's not a commitment. Going for a walk is something everyone can do. If you can't get up and go for a walk, how are you going to make it to the gym every day? So starting out by walking, and I've shown people how to escalate by carrying light hand weights and stuff like that. But you don't want to go on a vegan, vegetable only diet for your first day. You want
Yeah,
to do things in kind of
doing things
moderation.
cold turkey like that, doing the massive changes just leads to people getting really frustrated, getting sick and tired of feeling the way they do because they've changed too many things all at once. Like when I have people that want to quit smoking, for example, and they're like, I'm going to go cold turkey. I'm like, how about you wean yourself off instead of a pack a day, cut back to half a pack a day, and then a month later cut back to 3 a day, and so those gradual steps that work they're really doing move them to their end goal with, but taking away some of the downfalls of trying to do everything all at once. And people don't most people can't do massive change all at one time. So it's the gradual improvement here or there, taking a walk, drinking some water, saving a few bucks here or there by not, wasting money on plastic crap that won't last. It's those little things that add up over time.
And I think a bigger deal is really how committed is someone when they begin. And I think that one of the problems with big, hairy, audacious goals that you talked about is that they feel so good that we think because we said it, we made an accomplishment. And I think it's more important that the accomplishment be something you actually do moving towards that. And I'd rather have somebody set a goal to, if you're going to use a goal, I'm going to walk 4 times a week, 5 times a week, as opposed to necessarily the result that they want. Focus on that activity because it is activities that create goals. I don't care how much money I vision myself in the future. If I can't stop spending money on crap, and if I don't do something to make more money, I'm not going to ever have any money.
Yep. I had
Everyone
a
wants a better relationship. This
I
one
had a
last thing
friend
on
of
relationship.
Yeah, okay. Talk to me
You
about
know,
relationships. I could use some help.
yeah, we all can.
What have
But
you
the one thing I
learned through
know,
your experience and wisdom? Share some of you know how wisdom is gained from bad experiences and bad decisions?
and I've got those. The main key component is sometimes we have a goal to have a better relationship, but we still treat the person like crap that we're in a relationship with. We don't talk to them. We don't communicate with them. We don't show that we want to be the better relationship. We want them to do all the work to be a better relationship. You have to be the example of the relationship you want to have with that person. If you want communication, then you start the conversation. If you want more intimacy, if you will, how about starting with small touches on, especially us men, rubbing their back, doing something that makes them feel good, not just, okay, baby, let's go. I'm ready. If you know what I mean, Rick.
The
And I
non-sexual
think
touch
stuff
is
like,
very important to women.
yes, those things are very important. How about flowers? How about instead of hoping for a better relationship, why don't you be better in your relationship? That's my best advice to you.
I want to touch on something. I use a planner called it's a Clever Fox a planner. It's a way to organize what I want to do the next year. And you set big goals, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year plans. Then you have 1 year goals, and then you break it down to monthly goals, and then you break down weekly goals or weekly steps to get to those goals. One of my things I put was to improve my physical connection with my wife. And my daily thing is to have non sexual touch, holding, cuddling for at least 10 minutes a day, because that builds a foundation of emotional connection, physical connection without any expectations. And it's only been a couple of weeks, but it's done a lot to connect us physically and emotionally every day. It's just something simple that I can do every day that makes a difference over time. Same goes with exercise, water, reading a book, whatever. A friend of mine is running, doing a 40-mile breast cancer walk in October. She's not starting out walking 40 miles every day to train for that. I'm going to walk a mile to this week every day. Next week, it's going to be a mile and a half. The following week, it's going to be another mile and a half. Then we're going to graduate to 2 miles a week. To build up to that end goal. If she started walking 40 miles, trying to do that today or over the weekend, she'd give up and quit and say, this is a bad idea. So break it down to the small things that matter over time.
And I think there's another key component of change of our lives, and that is, are we committed or does this just feel good? Does it feel good to say, I'm on a journey to do better. I'm on a journey to make more money. I'm on a journey to save more money. I'm on a journey to eat better. Or are we really committed to creating that kind of change? Every year, right about the time that you and I are recording this, everybody's excited about the whole new year, but that excitement rarely ever carries over beyond the first bump in the road. And so here's what I would love to people. If you're gonna have a goal, make it a goal that's something significant to you. Maybe the goal either it needs to either be significant to you that you're going to be committed to, or it needs to be small enough that you can have a win and accomplish something. I always tell my clients, it doesn't matter how many pounds you want to lose. If you can't turn down bad food and start doing exercises, it doesn't matter what the goal is.
Yeah, the commitment level sometimes comes from setting meaningful goals for your change, and then again, the smart goals, be specific. Don't say I'm going to do better. I'm going to be healthier. The more crystallized you can make what you're trying to do, the easier it is to break those things down into the daily stuff. The work you have to do, you got to do the work. But if you can see where your end result wants to be, and then back into that by doing something every day, it makes it easier to be consistent and committed to the daily stuff that will move you towards the end goal, the yearly change you want to see.
So I'm going to talk about a few specific things I help my clients do when it comes to them improving their bodies. So number one is make it easy to get started. There's a book called Atomic Habits, and it's one of the things that got the author, whose name escapes me, he said, make it easy. So if someone's going to exercise in the morning, put your clothes out before you go to bed. Don't get up in the morning searching for an outfit. Put them out so that it's easy for you to put them on and start your workout. That's one thing. Second thing is make it hard. Make there consequences for not doing what you said. So if you plan to walk in the morning and you don't walk, then maybe you don't get something that you would normally get. There's got to be consequences. And this is where a good accountability partner comes in at. Another thing about people who want to start a new habit is we're busy. So it needs to be scheduled into a calendar in some way to point up that reminder that, oh yeah, I got to walk this today, whether it's at lunch, whether it's after work. You got to have a way to remind yourself, because we naturally default to what we did before unless we have that reminder. And so those three things right there, as it relates to exercise, especially, make it easy to get started, have something that's going to remind you, and make consequences when you don't do it. That'll help someone start a habit of exercising. Now, Rick, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. What are something people can do similarly to start changing their lives financially?
The most important thing somebody can do is be aware of where your money goes. Um, if you have a Starbucks habit, that can be thousands of dollars a year that you're literally flushing down the toilet. Um, a cup of coffee at home costs, less than 50 cents to make. $10 Starbucks twice a day, sometimes three times a day. So know where your stuff is going. Second is
So
educate
can I
yourself.
can I can I comment? Can I comment on that for a second? Because I think this is the important thing. So they have to make the plan to do that, right? They can't just say, okay, I'm going to say they need to do something. And that might be go to the store and buy the Starbucks coffee from the store cheaper than it would be going to Starbucks every day. That's the action that someone can take right away to have the coffee at home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you got to have the tools to replace your bad habits, but knowing where your money goes. Second is really um, figuring out where you can make changes, and that's where I come in. As I talk to people about setting a budget, and then what I do is I don't tell people to go on a financial diet and slash everything. I show them how to be more strategic with their money. Um, I use tactics and strategies to get people where they want to be. So um, you can money, still spend money on the things that make life worth living, but you do it more strategically. You pay yourself first, and then you use that money for whatever you want. So you're building a cash fortress for yourself. And third is stop using credit cards, because credit cards, they charge you anywhere from 10 to 20% interest a year. And that's money you're robbing from your future by buying stuff. And we have a fast food microwave mentality of I want it now. I don't want to save money. I'll just slap some plastic down and pay it out over time. And by the time you pay off that bill, whatever you bought is long gone and you're starting over. So stop using credit cards. That's really important for people. It's just like people trying to get healthy. Quit going to McDonald's every day. Well, people that are trying to get healthy financially, quit poisoning yourself by incurring interest that you're going to have to pay back eventually. So you realize that 18% interest on a credit card is the same as giving up making 18% on the money you put in an investment vehicle. So that's a 36% swing for your future. So definitely do that. I wanted to point out one thing. You mentioned accountability. My 14-year-old son, amazing kid, heard me say something at a gathering. I told my in-laws that I about a specific goal I want to achieve by the end of 2025. And it was a huge goal. It's big for me. It was replacing my my salary and having the choice of leaving my job because I do work a full time job as a consultant and I do the financial coaching and agency building as my exit strategy. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, Dad, you got a year. That's 365 small wins you need to put together." I'd never coached him on things like that, but that was really powerful to hear that my son realizes how important it is to break down big goals into small goals. And I think he gets that from he runs cross country and track and, they run small sprints every day to build endurance and build training and conditioning. Instead of going to run 2.5 miles, which is a cross country distance, every day they sometimes run a half mile, sometimes they run 4 miles, but they break it down into small wins to get the big goals. So my wife heard him say that and she was just really impressed at how he broke that down of, hey, 365 small wins. And now I know my kid's watching me. And it's so much more important that I actually execute on what I say I'm going to do because I do have that accountability of I've got my 14-year-old watching as well as my wife and of course my in-laws. I definitely want to prove my in-laws that I can do what I say I'm going to do. But it was just really powerful to me to hear that from somebody who spends most of his time playing video games that he can be so insightful.
Yeah. And that's an amazing thing. I think we all need someone to be accountable to. You and I have started this relationship by being accountable to one another, even though we've never actually met in public, in person. I mean, but we have that accountability.
Well, I'm not about
I
to
think.
fly to where you are in upstate New York in the winter, and you're not about to come down here in the summertime in Houston. So we got to figure out a place to meet in the middle
Well, I
somewhere.
disagree, Rick. If you send me a ticket, I will fly down. I promise. If you send me a ticket and a hotel room, I will come down and
Yeah.
visit you anytime you like, Rick.
You come on
Anytime you
down to
like.
Houston when it's 110 degrees and 100% humidity. We'll see how well that run goes. But
Well, send me
yeah,
the ticket. I'll be down.
we have actually had a
Anyway,
mastermind for a couple of years now, and I appreciate you and all that I gained from hearing your experiences, and hopefully you gain something from mine. But having that accountability is important. For health and fitness, it's important to have a good accountability partner, a doctor, a coach, a guru, somebody like Mark, who's coach and guru. But go ahead. You want to say something? You're maybe not a
well, no,
guru, but you're very insightful and helpful.
what I was going to say was it's in the spirit of being insightful and helpful. I came up with 3 questions that I have my clients ask themselves pretty much every day, either at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, that I think helps them stay focused. And I'd like to give it to our audience. And Rick, when I asked the question about health, you do the same thing if you can about money in some way, shape, or form. So the first question that I always ask is, what do I need to do today to make it a successful day in the specific area of life I'm talking about? And so that would be exercise, that would be choosing what you put into inside your body, that would be getting rest, and that would be alleviating stress. Those are the 4 things I have my clients think about every day to improve their bodies. Rick, how would you tell someone every day that they could do something to get their financial life in better order and prepare for retirement?
I often tell my folks when they're faced, they're going through the day and they're trying to figure out should I buy this or that? They're having shiny object syndrome. I ask them to play that movie forward. I tell them, whatever you're considering spending your money on, is it going to be beneficial to you a year from now? And if it's not, don't buy it. No, I don't tell people just to slash and burn and not buy anything nice, but I could drop $500 sitting on the couch on Amazon, but the stuff I'm buying, is it a year from now going to be meaningful? Or is it going to drag me down and keep me from reaching my financial goals? So take everything into account of, I've got limited funds. I mean, I can grow my income by working more in my business and helping more people. But in the end, I've got so many dollars to spend. And if I, I like the term plastic crap. If I'm spending it on plastic crap, that's not going to matter. Not going to enjoy that a year from now. Maybe I should rethink where I'm spending my money. And same goes with time, energy, focus, calories. Is it going to be beneficial and move me where I want to be, or is it just to make myself feel better today? And if it's just for today, yes, sometimes it's important to have those things that buoy my spirit for today. But if I do too many of those things, my future self is going to suffer.
So that's a good one. So the second question then would be, how can I make it easier to do those things or that thing? And when it comes to exercise, it's getting your clothes ready the night before. So when you wake up in the morning, the clothes are there. Putting it in your calendar, things like that make it easy to do that which you committed to doing. The big one, don't bring home crappy food. Only bring home food that fits in with your diet. I don't care what anybody says. If you buy a bag of potato chips and you bring them home, you're going to fight them every day until you eat them all. But if you leave them in the store once, it's one decision. You leave in the store, you bring it home. Every day you got to make a decision until you end up eating them all. How can you build on that with that question, with what you suggested, which is, how do I make it easy to not spend money on plastic crap?
It's important to have a budget where, people, the B words, budget word. Yes, set aside, a dollar amount that you want to spend on the plastic crap for the month or the week or whatever, the feel good stuff. And don't deviate from that. If you want to buy something nice and shiny and pretty and it's takes you 3 months, save up for that with your plastic crap budget instead of being spontaneous and just buying it because it feels good today. Um, so creating a budget, saving up for the plastic things that you want to buy and not, it's delayed gratification. While it can be unpleasant, you're not hurting yourself long term just by being a little more strategic with how you buy the plastic crap.
And then, so question 3 is a choice of two things. So you go through the day and you did what you said you would do, or you didn't. If you did what you said you should do, so you didn't buy the plastic crap, you didn't bring the potato chips home, you ask yourself the third question, which is, what did I learn from this that I can do even better tomorrow? And I think that's how we grow, by learning from what we do and how to get better. So for example, if I left the potato chips in the store, if I put my clothes out and I did my exercising, along the way, I'm going to notice things. Hey, if I did this little tweak, it can be even better and more efficient. I can be more effective. So maybe not just leaving potato chips at home, but leave the ice cream, and maybe buying a salad instead of buying. So these little things you learn along the way, you don't have to know the whole journey when you begin. You just have to get started. And from there, you learn the whole journey. How would that apply to someone when they do something they're supposed to do when it comes to money? How can they do even better, if that makes sense?
There's tools around that monitor your progress. I've got a financial GPS program that I help help people getting out of debt and planning for their long-term stuff, or even just a spreadsheet, or sometimes there's apps called Rocket Money. It's recording what I do daily. And you and I both went through some journaling and stacking with a coach. What I did today that made sense? What could I do differently tomorrow? Was this purchase, the way I spent this money, did I really need that? So it's reflecting every day of what did I spend my money on? Was it important? Was it healthy? Was it wasteful? What can I do differently tomorrow? Because if you recognize patterns, it's easier to change the underlying motivations. Like if I'm feeling bad and my back's hurting, I am more likely to go hit the McDonald's or the Starbucks or something because comfort food makes me feel better. It's an emotional support, and I'm an emotional eater. That's why I used to weigh 315 pounds, and I figured that out. Now I weigh less than 200. But where did I spend my money? Why did I do that? Did I really need that? And so that reflection every day helps people figure out how to do different things tomorrow.
And then the instances will come. This is question 3, but well, the opposite. You didn't do what you said you were going to do. You thought you were going to go out and order a salad. You thought you were going to go out and not eat dessert. And you ended up with the Coke. You ended up with the big meal. You didn't get the salad, or you got it, you didn't eat it, and you had dessert. What do you do when that happens? And I always tell my clients, learn from it. Maybe you go to a different restaurant that doesn't serve so much. Don't ever go anywhere hungry. There's little things that you can do so that you're not tempted to not. If you wake up thinking you're going to exercise, but you don't exercise, why? Why do you exercise? That's the question. Well, why didn't I exercise? And when you come up with the answer, you know how to prepare better for tomorrow. Somebody goes out, Rick, they say they're not going to buy plastic crap, but they buy it. What are some of the things they can do to not make that same mistake twice?
One is I did, figure out, was I trying to satisfy a need? A lot of people, physical needs, hungry, angry, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Was I trying to make myself feel better? Was I distracted by the shiny object syndrome? Did I buy into the commercial and the sex sells, the woman in the bikini made me want, the car that she was eh, sitting on, whatever it is. Is there some reason I did that other than the fact that I just wanted it? And sometimes we just want things. But usually, yeah, a lot of the times, at least, people are trying to fulfill a need by spending money on things they don't physically need because they have an emotional problem or an emotional trigger that's making them need to feel better, look better, feel more powerful, show off to, impress the neighbors, whatever it is. Sometimes they're just bored and they just spend money because they're bored. That's a scary thing. My wife has an Amazon habit that is scary, but because she's bored, I need to get her a hobby. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah. And it's very expensive. So what we're basically saying, folks, and Rick, great topic today, is we really need to focus on today because we can control today. We can't control tomorrow. And the better we perform today, the likelihood the better we'll perform tomorrow. And if we do that over the course of a full year, we might way exceed the goals that we set for ourselves because we perform so well. And Rick, that's your and my goal, that we want to be better at what we do so that we can get better results and help make the world a better place to live in. We are at 33 minutes, and I want to, Rick, how would you like to close out the show? What advice, what last words of wisdom do you want to impart upon our listeners so that they can make 2025 just a phenomenal year?
We've talked in the past about setbacks and reasons for failure, but I want to encourage everybody. If you made some resolutions and goals for the new year and you've already fallen off the wagon, don't give up on your year. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on making changes for you. Learn from the bad habits and make a decision today to do the work tomorrow that moves you forward instead of backwards. You don't have to stay stuck where you are, and you don't have to give up on making huge changes in your life just because you haven't made the progress you thought you would have had 2 weeks into the new year. Start today to make tomorrow different.
And so my last words are, it's funny how myths become a reality. I talked earlier about the 21 days being a complete and total myth. There's no scientific back on that whatsoever. But the second thing is, there is no, to your body, to your brain, to your mind, January 1st is no different than February 28th. It's no different than August 3rd or October. Our bodies do not know it's a new year. You in Houston know it's winter. Me in New York know it's winter. But to our minds and our goals, means nothing. It's a societal thing, New Year's resolutions. So this is being released on the 15th. I have no idea when someone's going to listen to it, but this could be the day you decide to change your life. As you heard us talk about it, it doesn't matter what the date of your goal setting is. Companies need to unite. So they say, okay, this is our annual year. But you and I, as an individual, can decide any day of our life is the day we make a big change. We have that power. And so that's my last words of advice to people. Don't be fooled by New Year's resolutions dates. Any day that you hear this is the first day of, quote, the rest of your life. Let that be the day you decide to change. Rick, if someone wants to talk to you, what should they do?
Go to my website, getmydebtfreedate.com. That's getmydebtfreedate.com. You can learn about me and set up a time for us to talk about how we can help your finances. What about you, Mark?
Someone can go to, and I always put it in the show notes below because it's a little complex, school.com/THMCLUB. That stands for the Health Millionaires Club. School.com, SKOOL.com, TH, the Health Millionaires. You read the notes before.
CLUB.
Yes, THMCLUB. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, one of the things that we all work on is ourselves. And what we hoped we did today, Rick, was I hope we showed people how to work on themselves. And, I just want to summarize, Rick, one last takeaway. Somebody wants to make this the best 12 months of their lives. One thing they should do right away.
Don't give up. You can't lose if you don't quit. Keep that in mind.
Okay. And mine would be just get started. Do something. I don't care how small it is. Just do something and you're taking the first step. Rick, I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Any big plans for this week, Rick, that you're going to do this week that not related to what we talked about?
I'm actually launching a new focus on my business to help teachers and educators with their retirement plans. I'm looking forward to learning and equipping myself my mom was a teacher, my sister is a teacher, and I have a heart for teachers. So I'm looking forward to learning how to better help those people who develop our future citizens. So looking forward to that.
And for me, I think that this is a week that I'd like to really, so as many of you know, I've had cancer and I had cancer treatment, and I'm looking forward to this being the week that I live my life as if I never had cancer treatment and go back to the person I was before I started the treatment. And that means I can run further, I can run faster. It means I'm more focused, and when I'm working, I do those bold, audacious things that I have lost the ambition to do. That's kind of like what I'm hoping to do. Next week, Rick, we haven't decided on a topic yet, but I'd like to talk about how easy it is to avoid problems than it is to solve them once you get into them. I don't know how that sounds to you, but avoiding some problems seems like a great thing to teach people.
That sounds like a great topic. I mean, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I think we could have a good conversation about that and really show some people how that daily decisions add up, and it's important to be proactive and not reactive.
All right. With that, folks, you folks have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. As Rick said, same bat time, same bat channel.